Hey man, what you doing?
I'm gaming, bro. I keep lagging, dude. Come here!
Why are you lagging? Do you even know how that thing works?
I have no clue.
That's okay. I took a class from a guy called Dr. Lee one time. It's all about matrices. Apparently that's how all this stuff works. Pretty cool, eh? I'll explain it to you.
Oh, bet.
Okay.
So, I looked away for like a second and you drew all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does any of this mean?
So this is all part of the actual process that goes into actually taking something that's in 3D land and putting it onto your screen so you can go snipe people in Call of Duty.
Cool.
So
what's a vector transformation?
that's a great question. So first thing we start off is we have a 3D model. In order to get that to your screen, you have to go from a bunch of spaces, right? From a 3D space to a 2D space. The way we do that is we break each object into a bunch of triangles. And we treat each one of those vertices as a displacement vector.
So why triangles? Why not like squares or something?
Absolutely. So what triangles do is they allow us to break everything up that has 3 even vertices, and that makes our life simpler for when we're trying to fill in some of the steps later down the line, which we're getting to. So the easiest thing to do to get it from 3D to 2D is to apply, like there's a bunch of vector transformations that go into it, but the easiest thing is just apply a vector transformation to all of these points to get it from the 3D model space into your specific screen space in your screen.
Is that what this R3 to R2 means?
Yes, that means we're going from 3D
Whoa.
to 2D.
That's
cool. Right. Yeah, so then now once we get to the screen, we have to compare all of the Z values to figure out what pixels actually get shaded in versus what don't. So that way you don't see through a person, but you actually see the person.
Cool. So what do you mean by filled in triangles over there?
Absolutely. So those triangles relate to, remember how we had the triangles before? So now that we have them on your screen, they're just a bunch of blank triangles, right? We gotta fill them in somehow. So the way we do that is we take the cross products of each one of the vertices, right? And
What's a cross product?
That's a great question. So cross product is one of our two kind of basic vector operations. There's another one called dot product. And what it does is the cross product of these two vectors, say this is a plane or a triangle, right? And then we have two vectors in the triangle. When you cross them, it's a mathematical operation, and you get a third vector directly perpendicular to both, or orthogonal to both. And by doing that, we can find the edges of the triangles, and then we know where to shade in, based on our previous calculation.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So
That-
why do we shade in?
So we shade in, so that way when you actually see something on your screen, it's not just nothing. Because these dots you actually can't see until they're shaded in.
Oh, okay. So now here, what do you mean by light correction and all this stuff?
So in order to do this, once you get it out on the screen, obviously in scenes, right, you have the sun, or you have shadows, and those play a part on your triangles. So in order to do that, you may have two triangles. This one will be facing the sun, whereas this one is pointing away from the sun. So this one will be lighter, and this one will be darker. And the way we do that is by using the pre-calculated cross product. We know that light is coming here, and so is the vector, which is seen here. You can see the cross product is perpendicular, and light is coming in this way. So we can see that there is an angle or a gap between them, and that tells us the intensity, as denoted by this part, of the actual light. And by applying that to the actual pixels' color values, we can make them darker or lighter, depending on what the scene calls for. And you can find that angle through the other product, the dot product formula that allows you to find the angle.
So what's a dot product?
So a dot product is another one of our kind of minor calculations when it comes to vectors that allows us to basically find the angle between vectors, which is the most common use, especially in graphics processing units.
Oh, okay. So, and then what's this part right here? TRGB.
So that is the part of the transformed RGB values, which basically are the color values for all the pixels. After light correction has been applied, so you can actually differentiate and see contours in a scene that you may not have been able to before. This prevents it from looking very flat.
Oh, cool.
You know, I think that's kind of the basics of how a graphics processing unit works. Just a lot of matrices. And that is why you can play video games. And that's why you were lagging. Your matrice calculators were way too full. There wasn't enough memory for all of these calculations that have to be done at the same time.
I guess I'll put less stress on my computer then from now on.
That would be a good idea. Glad you asked. So part of the thing we learned in Dr. Lee's class was all about vectors
Who's
and
Dr.
matrices.
Lee?
The linear algebra professor.
You should.
Why are you? It's a great question. I'm glad you asked. So part of the thing.
Dog, your battery, bro.
Okay.
So start with 3D model, right? So a lot of the computer game designers start in 3D. We live in 3D, right?
We do.
Yeah, we do. You didn't know that? Yeah. It's a secret. Don't let anybody know. So what you have to do is like everything you render, like your stupid expression, has to have an X, Y, and a Z component. Let's move on. So what do we do?
So, what? Hold on. Stop.